Good evening. Welcome to our nightly devotional time. We are in the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Still, we're working through Christ's Sermon on the Mount. And today we're looking at chapter 5 of Matthew, verses 33 through 37. 33 through 37. It reads, "Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, 'Do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made.' But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one." So I'd like to talk about several issues that all kind of come together here in this short passage. And it has to do with language. It has to do with what we call cursing, cussing, swearing. You heard me read in this passage that we're not supposed to swear. Now, what it doesn't mean is that we're not supposed to cuss. So what's involved with all of this? Number one, when you were trying to affirm the accuracy of your testimony, you were trying to convince somebody you were telling the truth. And still to this day, when people are trying to do that, they would swear on or by something. Now, they would swear on or by something that was considered to be higher or greater or nobler or more valuable than themselves. And so here is where Christ gives a couple of the options that the Jews apparently quite frequently would swear upon. Don't swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And don't even swear by your own head. And so in each of these things, you see an element or an aspect of that which is above, that which is elevated. Even the head, though a part of us is, well, it's the head, it's the top, it's the most important. And so we're not supposed to swear by or on heaven, that's God's home, or on his throne, it's none of our business. Or even on his holy city, Jerusalem, as he's speaking to the Jews. They're not ours to claim any right to. And so you'll even hear this today in our language. We don't say, "I swear on the throne in heaven." But what you do hear a lot colloquially in our language is on my mama's grave, or on my mama's honor, or any of those sorts of phraseologies indicate, well, I would certainly never risk dishonoring my mama. And so that's what's behind this swearing, or forswearing, if you will, is to give something up. It's saying that you can believe me because I'm willing to risk even the honor of these elevated things. But to do that is to bring them down and to put them under our control to some degree, to stand upon them, if you will. So God says, don't do that. Don't swear by these things. It's in fact even common, and it's seen as honoring God's word in our culture, that when you get up to testify in a court of law, you put your hand upon the Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Well, why do you put your hand on the Bible? Because in our culture, that was seen as something higher, nobler, inviolate. And so you were claiming the level of the Bible for your accuracy of your witness. And so for centuries, Christians have avowed to the trustworthiness of their testimony. They've simply stated their yes or their no, as it says here in the Sermon on the Mount, in a seminal way, or as James quotes in his book, his letter, to the Christian Jews that he's writing to. He says, just let your yes be yes and your no, no. So that's swearing. Now, quite often in our culture, we'll say, stop swearing. And we don't mean making a statement of truth or veracity. What we mean is stop using foul language. And so this also is when we say stop cussing. Well, cussing, what in the world is to cuss? Cussing is a word that's come from cursing. And Christians shouldn't be cursing, or cussing for that matter, but we shouldn't be cursing. We're supposed to bless and curse not. We're supposed to even bless our enemies. We're supposed to pray for those who persecute us. Bless and curse not. And so it's interesting to me that in our own culture, in our language, people will cuss by using God's name, but they never cuss using Satan's name. And it's not in there at all. Now, there's a difference here between crass, coarse language, the F-bomb, etc., and taking the Lord's name in vain. Now, the interesting thing is for the believer, for the Bible-believing Christian, the one that is worse is taking the Lord's name in vain. Now, the scriptures are also clear that we're not supposed to be involved in coarse talk or foolish jesting, any of those sorts of things. But there's a whole commandment about not taking the Lord's name in vain. We're not supposed to use his name lightly. We're not supposed to drag his name through the mud or through the dirt. In fact, I remember, so I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were at church if the doors were open, as the cliche goes. And I remember getting in trouble, not bad trouble, but I remember getting in trouble once because I said the word sheesh. And my mom got upset with me and said, "What in the world? What are you getting mad at me for?" And she says, "That's just a euphemism for Jesus, and you're not supposed to take the Lord's name in vain." I said, being a smart aleck kind of kid that I was, if I remember correctly, I said, "But I'm not taking his name in vain, just his nickname." I didn't win any points with my mama that day. Taking the Lord's name in vain is worse than coarse language, crass language. Cursing, cussing, swearing, they're all wrapped up now in our English language as to how we use those terms. Christ here in the Sermon on the Mount is speaking against claiming something higher than yourself as a basis for your honesty. Just let your yes be yes, your no, no. But in general, cussing, cursing, swearing, none of those are kosher for the Christian. May our great God bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may you train your tongue, again, remembering James's words that that's a difficult thing to do. In fact, impossible for man. So be sure to ask for the Spirit's help in the taming of your tongue. May the Lord grant you favor. Thank you and good night.